Aaron, you had made the comment before the postseason started that you thought this was the most talented roster you had ever had here as the manager. Ultimately, why do you think you guys weren't able to get it done this season?
Yeah, the ending's the worst, right? Especially when you know you have a really good group and a group of guys that really came together so well, at the right time. The final couple months, this was a team, and it's a team that played for one another, did a lot of really good things, and we got beat here. Credit to the Blue Jays and the year they've had, and they beat us the series. Simple as that. And it doesn't make it any easier. It's a beat up room in there. They're still sharing with one another. I felt like I should come out and owe you guys this, but know that the guys are in there still sharing with one another, because they truly became a really close team, and a really good team. And it's the awful part of this is the journey you go on, and this has been a tough year for me personally, but all you go through to kind of become this kind of team you think could really do something special, and if we're to abruptly end is always difficult. And you just, it's a beautiful game that so many of us and you guys here, and certainly within our organization, every organization, you pour so much into to go on this long journey, to have a chance to chase a dream and win a championship. And when it ends this way, it's always, it's terrible. It hurts. But I know for me personally, I know for a lot of those guys, it also continues to ignite your fire to want to get back and play in these meaningful games and have a chance at glory. So thank you guys that cover us all the time and are here. And again, I want to congratulate the Blue Jays and their organization. They've had a terrific year, and have built an outstanding team, and credit to John and those guys. They took it to us this series.
Harry, you look at tonight in particular, the offense did have quite a few opportunities to get that big hit. What was their staff doing that just did not allow you guys to come through in those situations?
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime you're in a bullpen game, obviously it doesn't always work, but it can be really effective, because you usually build the lineup to go face another starting pitcher. They're bringing in people to face your lineup, so you're getting guys, and they have obviously a number of talented guys that pitched effectively, and were able to hold us down enough, and when we did have some opportunities, we're able to thwart it enough, and so just obviously not our night.
Good, Brennan, on your right. What was your view on the Jazz ball? I kicked it off his glove.
Yeah, just ball hit sharply, but one he's going to turn all the time.
And just coming off last night, the emotion from yesterday, did you feel some kind of carryover with this team? Do you think that it might have been coming out a little bit flat, considering how heavy picks were?
No, I felt kind of the opposite. But you don't play, you don't win games on emotion all the time. It's about execution, and they were better than us tonight and in this series.
A few folks down to Joel.
Aaron, two things I possibly use. Describe this as an awful year for me. Why?
Did I say awful year for me? Tough year. Hard year.
Yeah, I'll try.
Yeah, just a hard year. I mean, there was just some tough moments, and but also, like, in a lot of ways very rewarding to go through some of the moments we went through, in the middle of the season, especially, and to see this kind of team come together in a really special way. I mean, that is a tight knit, and I feel like we got so much better in the final couple months of the season. So it was more a very tough year on me. That's all, and it's not about me, but that's all I was saying. But also very rewarding to go through it and see what these guys became.
And really, you have had to kind of give a version of this press conference a lot during your time here. Does your belief system that things will change take a dent at all, and that you guys will eventually break through this?
Oh no, I'm confident we'll break through. I have been every year, and I believe in so many of the people in that room. So that hasn't changed. The fire hasn't changed. It's hard to win the World Series, So, been chasing it all my life.
So Rory left Aaron run.
What do you say to Aaron after a year like this, where he has one of the great offensive seasons in baseball history, is always optimistic the team will get there, yet in the end just keeps coming up as a team without Vital?
But sports doesn't mean it's not going to happen, and he and I wholeheartedly believe that it will. So, again, you keep working your tail off to get back to this position and punch through it.
And do you find it at some level hard to believe with 10 years of the type of numbers he's putting out that the breakthrough hasn't happened?
I don't know. Again, I don't take anything for granted in this game, and being in it my whole life, I know how hard it is to win in the end, and so I have too much respect for the sport and the competition of it, for that.
But Chris, right for you, Trent and Cody were obviously huge.
Did it again?
Trent and Cody were obviously huge for you all year. You're obviously free agents now. I understand the season was done, but what is your hope with what happens with them and organization and all this?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's for another day. The thing I'll say about them is, they're a big reason why, I was so excited about this club down the stretch and at this point, and just really proud of who those guys were and are, and what they became as players, as driving forces for our team. But in those two cases, the two people those guys are in the room every single day, and what they brought to the table as teammates every single day. I appreciate that, and I grateful to get to have managed those two guys, and who knows? Hopefully in both cases I get to keep going.
So Rory, right, Peter?
What did you think of Schlittler tonight, and maybe more big picture, just how did this postseason run? How can that be foundational, I guess, going into next year with him?
Yeah, I thought Schlitt was good tonight. Didn't have the dominant swing and miss stuff, but I thought pitched really effectively. Was filling up the strike zone. I thought made a lot of key pitches when he needed to. Mixed well. Gives up a run in the first inning, but doesn't flinch. And I thought was really efficient with obviously a good offensive club. So I thought he threw the ball really well tonight. Not the dominant one that he came off of, but he gave us a really good chance to win a baseball game. And then as far as foundationally, obviously I think we all understand how excited we are about Cam and his future, and what he could become in our rotation moving forward. So he had a phenomenal season, and finished strong tonight.
Robot, Peter, Julian?
Aaron, just defensively, what do you think sort of plagued you guys this year?
Well, I mean, I think that's part of what I've been talking about the last couple of months. I think we're at this point a really good defensive team. It became that when we had to go through some tough moments in the middle of the season. What came out of it and became a really good and well-rounded club. That's why this hurts in the end.
Standing over your right, Ian.
Aaron, you saw last year firsthand what it took to win the World Series because you were in it. How much is what you're feeling now connected to the fact that you didn't get a chance to get back and apply those lessons in the World Series?
Yeah, I mean, maybe in some way that's part of it. Another part of it, again, is what I feel about this group and, you know, where we're at as a club and just, you know, what I believe was a realistic shot to get back there and win this thing. Again, as much as any team I felt like that I've had to this point, you know, I felt like, you know, this was a group that could make a real run at it, especially being, you know, as healthy as we were at this time of the year.
Fourth row on your left there.
Aaron, what did you feel was the biggest difference as to why the Blue Jays were able to win the series?
Look. Obviously, they were able in the first few games, you know, to get to our starters and put up a lot of runs against us. You know, we didn't hold them down well enough in the first few games. You know, Cam goes out and throws really well tonight, and then, you know, they were able to add a couple across there late, but we didn't control them offensively enough, you know, to win big in the series.
Couple last ones for you, Jay. Get your mic.
Aaron, what did you see on the Chisholm error play from your vantage point?
Yeah, he missed. It just kicked off, sharply hit ball, but a one hopper, one he's going to turn all the time, and just looked like it skipped off his glove.
No questions? Yeah, Gabe.
You mentioned, you said earlier, it's sports. I imagine that's in some ways alluding to the randomness of it and the way that the postseason is a roulette wheel. How do you kind of wrangle with that it is such a small sample when you're, whether or not the best team always wins, you're presented with a very small amount of gains in order to win.
That's part of the beauty of it. That's the competition of it. That's the high stakes nature of it, and that's why playoff baseball is awesome. You know, I mean, you know, you watch even these other games that you're kind of watching and paying attention to, like the importance and the intensity of every single pitch is just, it's awesome, and it's what, you know, I think a lot of us sign up for and play for, and so that's just part of it. Like, you know, doesn't mean it's always kind.
Good. Joel. So, right.
Aaron, I'm sorry on it, but it becomes a subject that do you have any reason to think you won't be back managing the team?
No, I'm under contract, so no, I don't expect anything.
Anything else for her? All right, Aaron, thank you so much. Appreciate it.